Use your powers for evil.
Your evil is mine.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Next Stop Everywhere, your favorite Doctor Who podcast, or at least in the top 10. I am Jesse Jackson, and joining me as always is Charles Skaggs.
Hi, Jesse. How are you today?
I am great. I'm excited to be talking Doctor Who on a very hot Sunday.
And we have another special guest.
Yes, we do.
Companion, don't we?
Yes, we do. So, Rich and I have been friends and co-workers and geek debaters for a long time. Rich, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, I want to get your background on the Doctor, but first, do you want to share about our first interactions together?
Well, I have two stories to that. We'll make it quick. I was introduced to Jesse as my boss, and I had prepared all week to meet him and have my agenda set and all my statistics ready and everything. And he comes and sits down in my cubicle, introduces himself. Then my phone rings, and I had set my phone to the TARDIS taking off sound. And my agenda got thrown out of the window. My statistics were never looked at. We never talked work. The next hour we had scheduled was talking about Doctor Who. And as he left my cube, I was like, well, I don't know if the new guy likes me or not, because I didn't get to go over anything. We just talked Doctor Who after he heard my ringtone. So that was actually the first time I met Jesse, period. On a subsequent trip before I had moved to Dallas and saw him on a regular basis, I brazenly said that Joss Whedon was overrated. Now this is pre-Avengers, pre-Cabin in the Woods, my favorite movie of all time. Joss Whedon. This is just Buffy, Firefly, Angel, Joss Whedon, and the failed Dollhouse.
Right.
Yeah, Rich is like, really, he's done nothing but
fail.
Yeah, and I said, well, how about Angel? Well, that counts as Buffy. How about Firefly? Well, I've never seen it.
And it only lasted one season. So.
Yeah, and I said, well, how about his X-Men series? You know, and all of a sudden, as Rich later said, wow, I've never had one actually debate my hot geek opinions before.
But every time after that, Jesse would come back into the office. We would pick that debate back up. The first time I met Tom, you completely outed me. We sat down at lunch, and you said, "Now, Tom, Rich doesn't like Joss Whedon, so go with that." And I was like, "Oh, we're doing this? Okay, all right."
He just threw you under the bus right there.
But I am prepared. I was prepared with my Joss Whedon notes.
Yeah, and so what it was funny is he later watched Firefly and said, okay, I see what's there. And then when he saw Cabin in the Woods, he did the next week, you know, like on the Monday after he saw it, he went into my office and said, okay, it's one of the greatest it is the greatest movie of the year.
It's definitely in my top 3 favorite movies of any genre. It is incredibly well done. So I will give him that.
And so, you know, I'm never a big fan of horror. And so when Rich, who hates Joss Whedon, see, I'm not letting it go, I had to watch it. And, then when I saw it, because I saw it on DVD, I went to him, I go, you were right. That is such a clever movie and a good movie. So anyway, so tell us about your Doctor Who background, Rich.
I came in with the new series. Christopher Eccleston is my first and favorite Doctor. Will always be my first and favorite Doctor. I understand him. I got why he left the show. Even though he's my favorite, I have no hatred for him or anything like that. That a lot of the fans felt he left things. So, and Rose will always be my least favorite companion. I'm under the mindset that you either love the Doctor or love the companion. And I loved Eccleston, hated Rose, loved Martha, was so about Tennant, loved Pond, and was so about Smith.
Okay. So in
And yet,
fact,
and here we are recording the episode Partners in Crime. This is interesting.
yeah, in
So,
fact, hang on.
I,
I want to say something before you jump
oh,
in, Rich. So when I invited Rich, because we no longer work together, but we have stayed in touch, and we go to lunch together fairly often, and I still think of him as a friend. He and his lovely companion Summer joined us, Tom and I, for a concert at Poor David's Pub, and so I just he's truly one of my favorite people. But I said, okay, I want to get Rich on this because Rich knows how to talk. He's always entertaining, and this will get us a ninth Doctor, right? We're going to have an Eccleston discussion, and then all of a sudden in my inbox, yeah, I want to talk about Donna. What? So explain yourself, sir.
well, Donna is actually my least favorite companion. Now that you mentioned she beats Rose,
Hmm.
the reason I picked this episode, it's not my favorite Doctor, not my favorite companion. I'm not even going to say that it's my favorite episode, because that my favorite companion would be Martha, and my favorite episode would be Blink, and I know someone's going to pick that.
Right.
But this is for me the quintessential Doctor Who episode. There are a few
Hmm.
things that
Hmm.
make something a Doctor Who story, and this uh, it has every one of those things.
Okay,
Uh,
we'll save those because we're going to get to those later.
yep.
You've gone a wonderful segue into our quick thoughts on the episode. Charles, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts in general about this episode are that it's it's very lighthearted. It's not your typical Doctor Who episode by any means. Not to mean that it's a bad episode,
Hmm.
but it's very atypical. But you get a nice little reintroduction to Donna, bringing her back into the Doctor's world, and mercifully, she's much more subdued than she was in the Runaway Bride, because I
Yeah.
thought she was a little too intense for the
Hmm.
viewers. I understand that was the point of that episode, to have someone just completely clash with the Doctor, but um, if they were going to make when word came out that Donna was going to be a regular companion, uh, I, like probably many people, were a little bit hesitant about that. Probably a lot hesitant about that. But thankfully, this episode kind of started to win me over to Donna, so that and by the time this series 4 ends, I think she turns out to be a really good companion.
So I think this is interesting, and this is I find like I should be recording this and just playing the tape.
You are
Um,
recording this.
yeah, well, in this way is I find myself as we're revisiting.
Hmm.
I am finding myself more kind and liking stories and characters that, like, I was not impressed necessarily with the um, Paul McGann's Doctor, the movie, but we rewatched it
Hmm.
and I liked it a lot more than I remembered. And we watched Rose,
Right.
Charles and I did, and I said, man, I really liked Eccleston more than I remember liking him. And I have been on the record that of all the modern companions, Donna is the one I could not stand. And I liked her a little bit better this episode. So I think, and I believe that unlike beer or wine, you can enjoy the Doctor without developing a taste for it. But I do think the more you watch the Doctor and watch Doctor Who episodes, the more developed your palate is, shall I put, and you can appreciate the different tones and the different, you know, kind of nuances of these performances and
Hmm.
enjoy it more. So,
This.
would you two both agree with that?
Oh
I
yeah.
would say so. Yeah. Donna, this is probably her best episode. For me, she to pile on the "Let's Hate Donna" bandwagon because it's a fun bandwagon.
Yeah.
Uh, for me, she just had very little depth of character. She she's just combative with the Doctor. and that was it. Uh, in this episode, you see more of her and more of her character that they never really come back to until her very end.
Yeah.
Martha was a doctor herself. She was analytical. Rose just had a depth of compassion and a personal relationship with the doctor. Amy Pond had that whole storyline that she had waited for the doctor her whole life and he kind of owed her something.
Yeah.
There's all these very deep relationships, and he's just Willy Wonka to her with a amazing chocolate factory, and she's just done nothing in her life, kind of bit of a waste. I'm gonna be really mean.
No, no, no.
And
And I think she says that too. I think she has that feeling that, she had a chance to go. She
Right.
had the golden ticket to do the Willy Wonka, right? And she gave it away.
And she regretted it.
Yes,
And
she
so
did.
she wants more out of her life. And
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good character arc, because there's a lot of people that I think can identify with not having done much with their lives, so that when this opportunity comes around, and I actively sought it out.
Yeah.
She was looking for the doctor
And
and
and I
yeah,
think
and finally found him.
part of this is knowing how her storyline ends.
Hmm.
There is
It's
it,
heartbreaking.
it is a little bit heartbreaking, and so maybe that's one of the reasons too. I tend to like her a little bit more. So so Rich, I'm gonna go off the and call you out because I'm gonna skip our outline for a little bit. You said there's two or three, in your opinion, standards, I guess not your word,
yeah.
but there are tropes that make a Doctor Who episode, and you say this one has them all.
And
So why don't you lead us through that discussion?
so if I was going to introduce someone to Doctor Who, which I'm already a hypocrite. I showed Summer her first Doctor Who episode, and I showed her Blink, and it was too scary for her. And she's like, "If this is what this show's like, I don't want to see it." But I should have showed her this because
Okay.
this episode has certain things that separate Doctor Who from a lot of other science fiction
Okay.
and makes it very Doctor Who-ish.
All right.
The first thing is that behind the veil aspect of Doctor Who. In the Doctor Who world, aliens are on Earth, but people just seem not to be aware of it, except for certain people who are paying attention even a little bit. And so the fact that this is an alien company that is doing this weight loss scam, and the doctor's aware of it, and so is Donna, because she's finally kind of taking that I want to believe leap and seeing the other side of this world. So I think to be in the Doctor Who world, you have to be that pierced veil and see what's going on behind the simple world, and Doctor Who takes you there, and that's a very Doctor Who kind of thing. The the
Interesting.
other the other kind of Doctor Who thing is that the enemies aren't ever entirely evil.
Okay.
They're always very uh, well done. Very They have a reason and a purpose, and you can like on your agenda you can debate whether the enemy is always evil, and that's very Doctor Who like. And how the Doctor handles them, he always gives them that last chance for redemption, and
Yeah.
then lets them kind of in the Disney villain way of doing away with them, like, oh, take my hand. Well, if you don't, you fall off a cliff, and that's how Disney kills their enemies, and that's how the Doctor kills his enemies. He lets them fall so that he can still be the hero, and that's very in this episode as well.
So I'm going to ask Charles this. Do you
Hmm.
think that's a Doctor thing or a Tennant Doctor thing?
I think that's a Tenant Doctor thing
Okay.
primarily,
Yeah.
because I mean you have things, even in Tennant's episodes like Davros. Davros is pretty much a unredeemable evil being. I mean, he created the Daleks.
Hmm.
He's basically the science fiction version of Hitler,
Yeah.
and creating, like the Daleks as a Nazi army out to, for looking for purity, and those kinds of, that kind of parallel. Um, I mean, yeah, there are Tennant's Doctor. He does want to give, the villains, that second chance, especially like in the case of the Master,
Yeah.
who he's
Oh,
fought
yeah.
over and over again. But it always burns him when he does, and the it they even when he gives them those second chances, they never really take them up on it.
I was wondering because I do know that is very much I don't have Charles's encyclopedia brain, but I do know of times when he said, I can find you your own planet. We can do
Right.
this. We can do this. And usually they don't pick that option, but he always
Gives them the opportunity.
he gives them the for like the Family of Blood.
Right.
That two-parter is, one of my favorite Tennant episodes. So I agree with you, Rich, that certainly on this version of the Doctor, he does that a lot. And so far, I'm agreeing with these are pretty close to, and, it really is. Torchwood touches on it a little bit, but, we have the Christmas invasion, but then everything seems to go normal afterwards, right? I mean, everyone seems to just kind of, okay, yeah, that happened, but now let's move on.
Right.
And not only just like, oh yeah, we're gonna move on, and when the next time the aliens come, we'll be aware of it. They kind of like reset or forget.
Yes.
They're very casual about it.
And the next time they see something weird, like you show me an alien selling me a diet product once, every diet product after that is, well, this must be aliens. If a cell phone works too well, it's got to be aliens.
Yes.
But
I would
they
be a
don't.
little paranoid too. Yes. Absolutely. All right. And do you have a third one?
The third one for me is just it's how the Doctor actually resolves the incident and the main conflict of the episode is that sort of magic, as Jesse, you've called his sonic screwdriver a magic
Yes.
wand.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be that moment where you're going to find out if you're a Doctor Who fan or not, when the Doctor will go up to a piece of technology he may or may not have ever seen, hit it with the sonic screwdriver, and it is going to do something it may or may not ever have been designed to do. And if you can accept that wonder in your life, you're a Doctor Who fan. If you go, wait, what? That's stupid. You're not a Doctor Who fan. You're never gonna be. It's okay. Go find Star Trek or Star Wars or something else. You can't make that leap. And when they're dealing with the adipose machine at the end, and he's doing this whole big contracted thing. Oh, I only have one necklace. If I only had two, then I could do this. And it makes me feel very much from like the Princess Bride. It's like, if only I had a wheelbarrow, then I could storm this castle. It's like, oh, we have a wheelbarrow. Well, why wasn't that listed?
Yes.
in our set?
I hadn't thought about that, but that's perfect.
That's a
that
good
same
comparison.
kind of thing, where the Doctor, oh man, if only I had chewing gum and duct tape, I could solve this nuclear crisis. Oh, I have chewing. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so you have there's this. If you can watch this episode and just accept that the Doctor can do anything with the sonic screwdriver, and his alien MacGyverness, then you can be a Doctor Who fan. If you can't accept that, then you just need to stop watching. It'll drive you nuts from there.
And I actually like that, alien MacGyver-ish, right? Because it isn't like he waves his sonic screwdriver or casts the spell and immediately the issue's fixed. I mean, it's part of the tool. It's part of his cleverness. That's a good thoughts. Very interesting.
Yeah, the Doctor's supposed to be the smartest person in the room,
Yes.
so he needs to show that every so often.
Yeah. So we won't go line by line through the episode, but I did want to talk about. So at the beginning, I thought it was clever, the parallel storylines, the little bit of farce that, the 10th Doctor and Donna keep missing each other. They're actually doing the same thing at different times. They're both going through, they're thinking alike. They're doing the investigations, leading to that great pantomime where if you read stories, they didn't write any dialogue really for Catherine Tate to do for the Donna, and she just mimicked. And if you go to like IMDb or something, it'll tell you what she's trying to mimic. But it's really, I think, a funny line between them seeing each other. So I'm on record. I think it's a little bit of genius and a nice way to start the story. Rich, how about you?
I like it. I think it is one of the most charming parts of the episode. When you're wondering how close will they get to finally um, seeing each other. The one office worker hitting on the doctor is always funny. It's very well paced. It does bring in the most unbelievable part of the episode. All the alien stuff aside, the doctor, time travel. I can believe all that, but I can't believe that Donna sat in that bathroom all day. Someone would have noticed. That's unrealistic. All my years in an office, that's the step too far. I kid. But no, I will go on the side of genius.
Okay. Charles, how about you?
I, as far as the doctor and Donna kind of missing each other, we kind of got the point after a few minutes, so I thought it was a little overdone.
Okay, fair enough.
But obviously, it strikes gold when they are across from each other in the Miss Foster's office, going miming
Yeah.
things back and forth to each other. That is a great scene. It's especially at the moment where Miss Foster is like, "I'm totally watching you guys." So
Yeah.
and calls them out. Um, it's great. And then, but yeah, it does seem just like I said, a little bit overdone and a little overly comical. Especially for Doctor Who, it seems a little cartoonish at times. Particularly the moment, the like when later in the episode when Miss Foster is kind of hanging there like Wile E. Coyote, and suddenly falls. Like, so I just it's a lighthearted episode, and I don't have a problem with that. But it's a bit lighthearted for Doctor Who.
So, I did not, because of my way I was watching the doctor,
Hmm.
it wasn't till really, I think, I even was, I did not go all the speculation. Matt Smith had already been, announced as the doctor, and Karen Gillian as the companion. So it wasn't till Clara, Jenna Coleman and Peter Capaldi that I was involved with the whole thing beforehand.
Hmm.
So I don't know. And Rich, you came on, so I'm not sure. I think you tend to watch things in DVD sets too. But Charles, how did you feel when they said this Catherine Tate was coming back as the companion? I mean, you kind of established you thought she was little, and I'm going to quote Russell T Davies' fish wifey, in her first role. And so were you a little worried about her being a
Yeah,
companion?
I mentioned this before that I thought she was just a little too intense in
Yeah.
the Runaway Bride, so I was a little hesitant when she first was announced. Um, with this episode and with later episodes like Planet of the Ood, or you know the the fires of Pompeii, that you start kind of warming up and kind of relating to her as more like the regular person traveling with the
Mm.
doctor. And by the time you get to Journey's End with her, just that tragic
Mm.
moment where like Donna's, like she wanted to go out and have a greater understanding of things outside of her tiny little world, and then
Yeah.
once she had it ripped away from her,
Yeah.
and how tragic that was.
I liked her in Unicorn and the Wasp, Silence of the
Yes, that's another
Library,
great episode.
yeah.
In
And Turn Left,
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
liked it.
in
Okay.
this episode, in particular, for me, I kind of see Donna's whole point and purpose done in this episode, and the rest of it doesn't really. Her leaving and how she got dealt with didn't really tug on my heartstrings. What did was her grandfather.
Yes.
When he's out there and he's looking at the stars, and to me, I see him as the guy that's been the lifelong believer in something else, and the lifelong I want to see more kind of guy.
Yeah.
And Donna has just she got his golden ticket.
Yeah.
And when he sees her leaving and sees the blue box and everything and dances, that pulls at my heartstrings. And when he gets to, have his time with the doctor a little bit later, um, I kind of like Donna less because I'm like, you know what? Your grandfather should have been the companion.
Interesting.
He deserved that shot at seeing the universe and everything. You didn't. So
Okay.
her leaving, I was actually happy to see her leave because I got to see him come back, and now she doesn't know what happened. She's changed inside, obviously. I think they made that clear. But he got to go on the trip. He got to be in the TARDIS. He got to have the universal experience. So I was happy to see her leave because he got his ride.
Yeah, I love Wilford. Bernard Cribbins is, absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, he's great. As Wilford Mott, yeah, he's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in a roundabout way, he did get a little trip in the TARDIS. Jesse, you probably don't know this, but Bernard Cribbins was actually in the second Peter Cushing Doctor Who movie.
Okay.
As a companion.
Oh, how funny.
So yeah, here he is. I mean, it wasn't considered canon by any means, but yeah, he was in that. And so now like all these years later, he's back as Donna's grandfather, which is just great. And he's such a great character, so fun to watch, and it's fabulous.
So, talk to me your feelings about Miss Foster and the fat globs. We see one of them, I guess, because Donna kept twisting the necklace. One person died, but were that many people going to die, or were they just going to let them take the fat and then take it to the other world? So I guess my question is, are they really that evil of a people, or okay, I see Charles shaking his head. Rich, you first.
I've actually had this debate at conventions and panels and in my own head. I have an adipose at my desk. As you know, Jesse, I've spent the last 3 years of my life losing about 80 plus pounds.
Ooh.
So
congrats.
Rich has literally gotten down to his fighting weight, because the reason he was losing weight was to do some competitive fighting.
And so no adipose involved whatsoever. That's
no. So I can very personally think to myself, like, gosh, if I'm still healthy, they're not taking muscle tone or energy. If I knew up front, would I take the deal? A pound a week or a pound a night, whatever it is. I was like, oh man.
But then you see
real tempting.
Then you see Stacy going kablooey.
But that's on Donna. Is
that on Donna? I don't think so.
That's her.
Because
I wanted y'all's opinion.
Yeah. See, because I mean, they actually had a process. They called it, what did they call it? Parthenogenesis, where apparently, like the adipose, in order to have their creation, if it gets desperate, they will like just suck like bone and hair and whatnot and totally consume the host. So in this case, yeah, I mean, you had it in the little like ticking clock there in the restaurant when Donna's mom Sylvia is watching like her friend and other people in the restaurant like struggling, like they're having all these adipose emerging from their bodies and starting to. And
would that have happened though if they didn't?
We don't know. We don't know if they would have been left alone. It's entirely possible if the doctor hadn't shut that down. It's entirely possible they would have been consumed by the adipose.
But no, if the doctor and Donna had left them alone and they had let the scam run,
Right.
Or let's say that they just show up, they land, and they roll out business, and they're
Right.
capitalist aliens. They're like, hey, you guys are really fat. We can make a deal here. And they start selling the pills, and you sign up for one, and it's safe and whatnot. If the doctor hadn't forced their hand and made them turn on the machine to basically smash and grab and run, would that have happened? I think Stacy upstairs is because, well, I'm going to be controversial and say Donna was not ready to be a companion. She was meddling with powers she didn't understand, and she killed a woman. And
Right.
the doctor forced their hand, and that would have happened. So doing it without their consent was terrible. But I don't know if they're scammers. They're not
Well,
murderers.
these aliens were already. They made a comment that they were doing something illegal that they knew was illegal, and
Right.
they were like, they perfectly willing to take out Miss Foster. So all they cared about was having the adipose generated. They didn't care about anything else. They certainly didn't care about the Earthlings. And
So
there wasn't, it just in this. And when Stacy died, there was like an unscheduled parthenogenesis, meaning that there was a scheduled parthenogenesis.
okay.
So therefore, like they did have planned use for like totally using up the entire body parts as opposed to just excess fat.
Because yeah, I had a little bit of that same feeling as you, Rich, where I'm going, if he had not interfered,
Hmm.
if they had not been the pesky kids, would have everything been okay? So,
But why would the doctor?
Would Miss Foster hit her quota, deliver to the adipose? The adipose would have handled her, and however they would have, and then everything would have moved along fine. Would
I
that have happened?
I think
Okay,
you
all right,
can make that argument.
okay. Presumably, the doctor knew about the adipose before,
Okay.
right? So why would he bother getting involved if he wasn't concerned that of the safety of humans?
Because he said it's against I believe he cites the Shadow Proclamation to use a uninitiated world as a breeding ground.
Right. And
If
but
people
so when
had
they
known up
this
front and
right.
signed a consent form, you know, it probably would have been okay.
That's interesting. I I I see
It's
both sides.
it's open to debate.
It is
I
open
grant you
debate.
that. But my take is, yeah. I mean, I don't think the
Mhm.
doctor would have gotten involved unless he saw this as a serious threat to Earth.
And how about so at the end,
Hmm.
Miss Foster, did she get what's coming to her, or did the mom and dad use use her and get rid of her?
Yeah, I think she got what was coming to her
Okay, Rich,
because
how about you?
she had a very callous attitude toward human life.
She did.
She is definitely not a paragon of virtue in any way,
Yeah,
but she's just a scammer, and she seemed to be a fairly dedicated nanny.
she did seem to be. She really cared about the little kids.
And she didn't see it coming because she's like, no, I'm the nanny. They need me. She wasn't Cruella de Vil or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, um, you know, I think some way the villain of the story is Donna. She's the only one that kind of screwed up and got someone killed.
Wow,
That's
controversial. All right, that's why we have you on here.
which wouldn't
She
have
was
happened at all in the first place had this, diet drug been implemented, right?
she was not
So,
prepared for the world she was coming into, and she killed Stacy. Rest in peace, Stacy. It's on
well,
Donna.
it's not like there was any instructions about that.
No.
So I think that's just trying to make Donna the villain. I totally disagree with that.
Okay, very nice. Um, I kind of felt a little sorry for her, and kind of I love the fact that the doctor is telling her, "Hey, you're not thinking through this. yes, you don't need the nanny anymore. So they don't need it. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Very nice. Let me go back up here.
I would like to see the
Yes.
Adipose return. I'd like to see Adipose adults, and I want to hear mom and dad's kind of side of the story.
Yeah.
Uh,
Nice.
is mom and dad Adipose up there in the ship panicking and arguing and going, "Oh my God, we got caught! It's the doctor. The doctor's a kind of a fearsome being in the universe," and they panic
Yes.
and they just, "Oh, we just gotta kill Miss Foster and get out of here. We shouldn't have done this." And you're gonna see them later, and they're all just panicky, like, "Oh, the doctor's coming for us. The doctor's coming for us." Or are they, like hitmen? They're like, whatever, we got to just get rid of the evidence, and they're real jerks. I kind of want to hear their side of the story
Yeah, that would be interesting. I
with
agree.
with a different doctor, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. So we kind of Rich and I both are not the biggest Donna's fans. We've established that. But so we'll kind of talk about this. So Charles, I want you to take lead.
Uh-oh.
How do you rate Donna as in the Tennant companions? I won't have her rate against all
Okay.
companions.
In the Tennant companions, I mean, technically you're presuming that Rose Tyler, Martha Jones, Donna Noble,
Yeah.
really, or are you counting like the specials companions like
Your
Wilf?
choice.
Okay.
Your choice.
I think I like Donna better than Rose.
Okay.
I don't like her as much as I like Martha Jones.
Okay.
And I think you kind of agree with me on that because you're a big Martha Jones fan.
I am a big Martha Jones fan, and I say again, any Doctor Who fans, if you're not checking out Sense8 on Netflix, you are missing out, my friend.
Pretty much.
She is amazing in this. Not just because she gets naked, she just really is playing a great character. Anyway, back on.
But yeah, I mean, there was other great companions. I mean, you had what's her name? The Michelle Ryan's character in the Planet of the
Yeah,
Dead.
would have loved to see her some
Yeah,
more.
I thought she would have been really interesting to see on a regular basis.
I agree.
Wilf, of course, is just great to watch, always on
Yes.
screen. He just completely chews up the scenery and owns it
Yeah.
every time he's on there. Love seeing Wilf. And you had Captain Adelaide.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're counting those companions, I'd say like Donna falls kind of in the middle.
Okay. I liked her more than I thought I did, and I may go back and watch a few more Tennant Donna episodes to just get a feel for it. I don't think she will, and I know a lot of people love Rose.
Right.
I mean, Rose is beloved, and not as many people like Martha, but Martha is my favorite. So, and of all companions, I mean, if I had to pick anyone at all, I would pick Martha above everyone else. So, Rich, how about you?
Um, as Jesse will attest to my style of debate, when put into a corner, I go to the extreme and the absurd. So I've gone from not liking Donna to accusing her of murder and at least manslaughter.
Yeah.
And she's dangerous now. So
Yes.
I think one of the Tennant companions, I'm struggling to remember his name, but I believe it's Ricky, Rose's boyfriend,
Mickey.
deserves a
Mickey,
shot.
yeah.
Mickey,
Yeah.
that's right. He deserves a shout out.
Yeah.
I think he did a very good job balancing Rose's wonder. He wanted to see things, but he was cautious. I think if I ever got to be a companion, I would be a lot like him.
Okay.
And like, okay, let's play. But then as soon as things get crazy and the doctor starts to get that mad look in his eye, I'm going to be the one going, let's tone it back a little bit. It's not too much
Okay.
adventure.
Very
So,
nice.
someone's going to get killed like that time with Donna. Come on.
Yeah.
So I put Donna towards the bottom.
Okay.
I think I liked her grandfather better.
Okay.
I think I was glad to see her go. For me, Martha, I'm with Jesse. Martha is the best companion. She went too soon. She didn't get enough time.
Yeah.
Far and away the best companion Tennant had. Even better than Rose for me. I will make that sin and say that she's better than Rose.
Yeah, and I think I blame a little bit of the story that giving her the crush and she was
the unrequited love.
yeah,
I think if they had gotten rid of that, I think she would have been a much stronger companion as a result.
yeah, I mean, I think it's a great line with Tennant's doctor talking about he wants a mate and
Right.
he just wants a friend. And so I think Martha, I mean, she had a good arc and
Yeah.
everything, but I think that would have been interesting.
One of the things I do like about Donna that I thought was so refreshing was that she was the first new era companion after to not have a crush on the doctor.
Yes, I agree
And a
with that.
lot of fans, especially classic fans like myself, were very appreciative of that because
Yes.
Rose was practically codependent with the doctor.
Right.
Martha had that unrequited love.
Yes.
So when Donna came along, it was just like this breath of fresh air. It's like, hey, yes, remember the companions can just travel with the doctor like a friend, and they
Yeah.
don't have to be fawning over him every time they turn around. So that was great.
Is it too far to say that Donna served her purpose as a palate cleanser and that's all?
Kind of, but
Yeah, I think that's a little harsh, but we'll allow it. I think it's certainly not a bad thought. I mean, I did not know Catherine Tate beforehand, but I guess she's a very well known
comedian.
Tracy Ullman type, Carol Burnett,
Sketch comedian,
yeah, that I'm totally talking about people, I guess, I'm showing my age, right? So I guess it should be Amy Schuler, right?
There you go.
Yeah, that kind of comedian. So, I know when I read The Writer's Tale, the Russell T Davies, kind of autobiography behind the scenes, he talked about how happy he was that they could get her and thought they were lucky for someone with that kind of comedian chops and everything. So
and she and Tennant together have pretty good comedic timing.
They do.
Especially in this episode.
Yes, they are. So I felt the sonic pin kind of took away a little bit of the uniqueness of the sonic screwdriver.
Mm-hmm.
Is out in space, is everything sonic?
So I have to say, on the agenda, the favorite line. I was going to tell you my favorite line of the episode.
Hold up, and then we'll get to that. I'll ask you for it, but hold on. Go ahead.
My answer to your question is
your favorite line. So go for it.
Couched in my favorite line.
Okay, go for it then.
Do you know what happens when you put two sonic devices together?
Yeah.
Neither do I. Let's find out. That was great. I love that moment.
That is a very doctor line, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, go ahead.
It was worth having another sonic device just to get that line.
Yes, absolutely. Charles, any thoughts on the sonic pin?
Well, you notice we have never seen the sonic pin before or ever again after this episode. We don't have sonic cheese graters. We don't have sonic toothpicks. We don't have sonic stairmasters. So it's just it's pretty. Like it was just a one shot thing that I think that. Russell T Davies just trying to be cute. It's like, well, the doctor's got a sonic screwdriver. Well, guess what? I've got a sonic pen.
Okay.
So there.
Well, in this other episode, there's another great line where he does his thing with the sonic screwdriver to the window washing thing. And he's like, oh, well, we're going to get away unless they have another sonic device. And then she pulls it out. And he's like, oh.
It's a gag. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like if I only had another necklace.
Exactly.
I could save the world.
Captain Jack had a sonic device when he first met him, and they had that moment between Eccleston and Captain Jack. I can't remember his name. He's on Arrow now.
John Barrowman.
John Barrowman.
John Barrowman. Yeah, he who I love him on Arrow more than I ever loved him as Captain Jack. Where he cuts a hole in a wall with his sonic device, and he goes, oh, what, your sonic device can't do that? I guess mine's better, as only he can say it. Yes. And he's like, no, I can put up shelves all night
yeah,
with this.
Yeah.
So there are other sonic devices out there. Captain Jack had one.
that's true, but
Yeah.
not
And
many.
that also
And
gets
again, that was also Russet T. Davies.
yeah.
So yeah,
Also the great line, right, when Tennant doctor meets Smith's doctor and they're both showing their sonic screwdrivers and comparing
so,
you
yeah.
know.
And the 11th Doctor is like, haha,
Yeah.
mine's bigger.
Yes. Um so we're going to obviously we are embracing spoilers. So I have seen the whole season and I still don't get what the Rose Tyler cameo is supposed to represent.
It's a
So,
tease.
do either two of you can tell me what that for?
Yeah, I can.
Okay,
Yeah,
Charles, go ahead.
yeah. Basically, it's Rose first crossing. It was like a test drive that she could cross over to this dimension from the parallel Earth. Because remember, back in Doomsday, we were told that we're separated. We can never cross over again.
Okay,
Well, obviously they figured out a way,
okay,
and if they could figure out a way, why couldn't the Doctor? Let's ask that question. But this, I think, was kind of a trial run
okay,
so that when she finally comes over at the with at the end of the season and with the Stolen Earth and Journey's End, that
okay,
it's just kind of like that. It's a tease for the season finale.
okay. Because I know that.
And they also talk about like the bees disappearing in
Yeah.
this episode, so they're like like, and the Doctor's like, what like what's up with the bees disappearing, and then
Hmm.
it's kind
Okay.
of dropped. So it's just
Okay.
it's teasing that season finale.
Okay. Very nice.
I
It's
just took it as another sign of Donna's irresponsibility that she's leaving the car, she's leaving the keys in a trash bin of all places,
but
and
she
she's
called.
telling one random stranger who's not even from this dimension where to find it. It's just Donna is irresponsible. That's all.
It does seem like
Did
with
call Sylvia. She said
if
said the keys are in a trash bin, and so that way when she talked to Rose, she said, "Oh, like when my mother gets here, just point her in the direction of the trash bin."
you can't put it underneath the car mat, I guess that
It's
anyway,
not
yes.
it's not like she could just leave them out hanging on a hook somewhere. So yeah.
Well, and it isn't like she has this spaceship where she could go in an instant.
Well, there's that
Hey,
too.
mom, here's the
Yeah,
keys.
yes, she could do that. She could.
Yeah.
The Doctor could have traveled back to like she could put him on the front porch or whatever. Yeah,
Yes,
there
absolutely.
Yeah,
that's a
they could
totally
totally
good argument.
Bill and Ted's Bill and Ted it. We're like, oh well, we have to remember at the end of this to put the keys here, and then they're there.
Yes, absolutely. So is there any storylines, items that we missed in our discussion
Let's see.
as Charles checks his
I'm
notes?
checking my dubious notes. I think we pretty much got the highlights.
Okay, good.
Yep.
All right. So Rich has given us his favorite line. Charles, how about you?
Mine, of course, is the Donna line where she's talking with Wilf about like saying looking for that blue box in the sky. Where she goes, she says, "I mean it. If you ever see a little blue box flying up there in the sky, you shout for me, Gramps. Oh, you just shout." So
Very sweet.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
And I had another line, but I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I had two Donna lines. And I actually had a doctor line too, but I love the "Don't you ever change?"
Yes, that's a
line.
great line.
And "You're not mating with me, sunshine."
Yeah, that was a cute little like exchange between them.
Yeah. How about you, Rich? Anything else before Charles gives another one?
No, I think the sonic device, and it's not so much a line, but when he sees the blue box in her, that's the heartbreak moment. That the whole thing's very light and fun and well done, and that you almost tear up to see the grandfather seeing her fly off in her blue box. It's not really a line, but those
great.
are my two favorite moments.
All right.
It's a great moment.
Charles?
My other line was just when Penny, the reporter, and Miss Foster are talking, like she's about to tie up Penny, and Penny's like, "You can't tie me up. What sort of a country do you think this is?" And Miss Foster replies, "Oh, it's a beautifully fat country."
Yeah.
And believe me, I've traveled a long way to find obesity on this scale.
I love that one. I do love this, and I don't think I can ever convince the lovely Linda to do this, but I love the health and safety. You be health, I'll be safety.
Yes.
And with Tennant looking like, what?
Yeah,
What?
he's clueless at first, and then he's like, "Oh,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, oh
yeah.
yeah, that."
All right. So our ratings.
When we go, let Rich go first.
Yes, Rich, you're
Um,
first.
again, not my favorite episode, not my favorite companion, not my favorite doctor, but because it is such a prototypical Doctor Who episode, I'm going to, and you know me, I'm very low on ratings.
Yes.
I'm hypercritical. I'm gonna give it a solid 8. Probably the best Donna
Okay.
episode.
And do you have a shtick? Do you 8 out of 10?
8 sonic devices.
Very nice. All right. Charles?
I give this one 8 out of 10 sets of car keys left in the trash bin.
And I give it 8 out of 10 thermos bottles.
So we're pretty consistent
Yes,
across the
we
board.
are. Very nice. Very cool. So, reverse polarity. What do you got for us, Charles?
I had to stretch a little bit because this is, like I said, such a unique episode.
Yeah.
There's really not a lot of classic Who that kind of compares. Although I did think about the Time Warrior,
Okay.
which is the first story of season 11, way back in 1973.
Okay.
And this is written by Robert Holmes, who's written a lot of great episodes, as we've discussed on previous episodes of Next Stop Everywhere. This is the Third Doctor story where the Third Doctor and the Brigadier investigate the disappearances of these scientists at a complex. And when the Doctor gets there, he encounters a certain reporter by the name of Sarah Jane Smith.
Ah.
And so they meet for the first time. And Sarah, it turns out, had infiltrated the very same complex. And this is where I got my comparison. So they kind of like meet there after like both investigating on their own. That's where I was going with that. She was masquerading as her aunt. She was posing as her aunt to get in. The Doctor ends up going back to the Middle Ages, unaware that Sarah Jane has stowed away aboard the TARDIS. And when they go back, they find out that a Suntaran, and this is the very first appearance of the Suntarans, is behind the disappearances. And this episode's also great because Gallifrey is mentioned for the very first time. And in a little Star Wars aside, it also features Jeremy Bulloch, the guy who goes on to play Boba Fett.
Ah, okay.
So Star Wars geeks, you should, if nothing else, check out the episode for that reason.
I was thinking you'd pick a episode that, kind of debuted a companion. So you picked what historically everyone says is the best companion.
Exactly.
So very nice. So Charles, the Doctor's gone on the big screen.
Yes.
Did you? I once again, I'm going to pull back the curtain. We had 2 news items. Okay, and
I got my ticket. Got my golden ticket.
So, do you got some details to share with our listeners?
Yeah. For those who don't know, Fathom Events, who do a lot of special presentations at movie theaters, they're doing bringing Doctor Who back to the big screen, which is very exciting. As always, it's another 3D outing, although it's going to be basically like the 2D TV episodes, Dark Water and Death in Heaven, from this past season of Doctor Who, which were like the 2-part season finale of Series 8 with Peter Capaldi and Jenna Coleman. Those are going to be converted into 3D and shown on the big screen. But the big news is that apparently, along with the presentation of Dark Water, Death in Heaven, there is also going to be a special prequel that sets up Series 9.
Very nice.
So, if nothing else, it's worth it. Just if you're a completist and you're just jonesing for that Series 9, like I know Jesse and I have, you might want to go and check it out.
Yeah, it's going to be on September 15th. You can go to the Phantom website and get it. I have gotten my ticket as well.
Yep.
So it's a Tuesday night. I'm excited. Charles has his ticket. How about you, Rich? Are you going to drag summer or are you going to go solo?
And that's September 15th and 16th, I should mention.
Okay.
It depends on where she is in her initiation into Doctor Who. At this point, like I said, she's only seen the one episode. Now, something not on your news list here. For those of us who watch Doctor Who in DVD format or season format, I don't have the DVDs.
Yeah.
Season 8 will be on Netflix August 8th.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I will finally get to see the new Doctor with Jenna Coleman. I have not seen that season yet.
Oh, nice.
So I have about a month and a week, it looks like, to binge before I could see this
Okay.
without spoilers.
Okay, very
So,
nice.
She in this way, Summer's first Doctor, if she chooses to sit and watch with me, will be Peter. So like they say, you always remember your first Doctor. That'll be her first experience of the Doctor. Will be this one.
If you can get 2 episodes in a night, you're gold.
Yeah, I tell you what, it would be very interesting if tell her to do it for Jessie, because I would love to have her on the podcast as a newbie, and just her only impression, except for Blink, is the Peter Capaldi and what she thinks. And even if she doesn't like it, it would be cool to hear this rookie perception of this Doctor, because just as everyone's comic book is someone's first comic book, every Doctor is someone's first Doctor.
Yeah.
I think for you, Jesse, I think she can do that.
Okay, good. Yeah, that would be interesting. Very nice.
And Rich, if you're ever interested, we if you want some recommendations on episodes to kind of get her hooked, better entry points, we could definitely provide those.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Okay,
No, we
great.
always want to get her hooked. I think this past year I took her to her first comic book convention, and it was a bit overwhelming and wide-eyed. I just took her to AllCon, a very small convention, and even that was overwhelming. I'm like, I'm glad we didn't do Comic-Con this year.
Right.
The Dallas Comic-Con would have been just way out there.
Yeah.
And is she gonna go to the Can't Stop the Serenity?
Yes, our tickets are bought.
Good. That's great. We'll have
cool.
to meet in there. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Summer. She's just a doll, and
she's most of her way through Serenity.
Oh, good. Very nice.
Firefly.
Yeah, good.
Right.
Yeah.
So my news item is BBC America is going to reveal the Doctor's Finest, the essential Doctor Who episodes. One of the things that I have loved about BBC America is they have embraced that, yes, we have a lot of other great shows, but our moneymaker,
our cash cow,
is the Doctor.
Yep.
And so, as part of the run-up to season 9 of Doctor Who, premiering on September 19th, BBC America is looking back at the best of the series' modern era with a curated collection of hand-picked episodes, including 4 starring David Tennant in the role of the Time Lord. Over 6 weeks, starting from Saturday, 15th of August, Hannah Hart will host Doctor's Finest, some of the most essential Doctor Who episodes presented with new material, including interviews with the show's cast and creators, fan insight, and look at how each episode fits into the canon of the Whovian universe. Ingrid Oliver, who is Osgood, comedian Sarah Schaefer, Mythbusters host Grant Armahara, actor Jimmy Wong, Charlie McDonnell, and
he's the lead of the band Chameleon Circuit.
Yeah. And so they're going to cover some great episodes: Blink, Waters of Mars, End of Time, Vincent the Doctor, Doctor's Wife, Day of the Doctor, Time of the Doctor, Deep Breath. So I
wouldn't describe some of those episodes as the Doctor's finest, but yeah. Some of them I would.
I love they have done a lot of these, always before BBC America, and so this will be a lot of fun for to kind of, not only do you have this podcast to help you through the time, you've got these. So that is really good. My DVR will be set. You too, Charles?
Definitely. If nothing else, it kind of gets us warmed up for the new season. So,
absolutely.
And it helps us get through those last remaining weeks.
Yes, according to Google, we are only 47 days till the new so which is awesome. Rich, I hope you had fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely.
this is really, I love your insight, and it was a lot of fun having you on the show.
Yes, Rich. Thanks for coming. And
Yeah, no
yeah,
problem. Anytime.
feel free to come back.
Yeah,
Eh,
we'd love that. Like I said, it would be interesting to hear your thoughts on Capaldi. You know, Charles and I kind of, this was in a lot of ways in fact, it was, we started out this podcast while watching this, and then we've gone back and looked at it. So that's going to be, I guess, if Charles and I had a doctor together, it would be Peter Capaldi.
Oh, and I'd like to, and while we're kind of sort of on that subject, I'd like
Yeah.
to mention that tomorrow, Jesse, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but tomorrow, August 3rd,
Yes.
is the 1 year anniversary of Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast.
I did not know that.
Woo!
Yay.
Yay, yeah, actually, yeah, exactly 1 year ago tomorrow,
Ah,
you and I recorded episode 000,
yes.
the An Unearthly podcast. So that was
Very
our
cool.
debut.
I did not know that.
So yeah, we were 1 year you've put up with me. So I'm very impressed with you.
So, Rich, you know Junior that we used to work with?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Poker buddy.
Yeah, so we were, last night he asked me, or actually Friday night, so if you had to give up all the podcasts but one, which one would you keep? And I said, that's tough, but I would probably keep the Doctor Who one.
Yay!
I said just because it's so diverse and it's so much fun, and I could convince Karen, who does the Castle podcast with me, to jump on, so I could have the best of both worlds. So yeah, that's good. Next week, Nicola Wood,
Hmm.
who is this is going to be a great episode. Nicola was one of the people that was on the Farscape podcast with me,
Oh,
and she gave so much insight and so much data, and talking about clothes and the symbols and all the stuff of Farscape, that she really got into a lot of depth of the episode. And I'd be going, I just thought, I'm like one of those, sometimes a banana is just a banana, never with Nicola. And so she's picked The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances. So we are going to have a Ninth Doctor discussion. And those are two great episodes. So that's what we're going to be talking about next week.
hmm those are
So
great. Those are, and Stephen Moffat's debut as a Doctor Who writer. So that should be.
absolutely,
I'm sure we'll touch on that a little bit.
absolutely.
I do have one thing I'd
Oh,
like to bring
please.
up before we go.
Yeah.
Last week I tried to get to this, but we ran out of time. But I got a Facebook message
Oh,
about the show.
okay.
From a guy named Shane Artis, who was kind enough. So Shane, thanks for listening, for one. And he said, "Hey guys, been listening to a bunch of shows over the weekend. Been downloading them for ages, but haven't had the time to listen to them until now. I remember Jesse asking for suggestions for classic stories to watch over on the Tuning into Sci-Fi TV forums, what seems long ago, or ages now, and it's been fun hearing his thoughts on some of them. I've been randomly listening to shows, my own kind of time travel, if you will, and they have been fun. Looking forward to listening to more episodes in the future." So that was very kind words
Yeah,
from
very
Shane.
nice.
So I guess he must have known you from way back on the
Yes.
forums. So I just thought you might get a kick out of that.
Oh, well, very cool. Also, did you know anything about August 15th being Doctor Who Comics Day?
Yes, I am slightly aware of that. But
Okay,
yeah,
I had not been.
yeah, because
So it's
they're basically going to be. I think they're going to launch the Titan Comics is going to launch the Four Doctors
okay.
miniseries on that. The first issue should be out on that date, if I'm
Okay.
not mistaken.
I
So
will have to see if one of the local shops here is doing that. So
yeah, it's going to be select shops kind of involved with that. So
I caught up on the Titans 12th Doctor series this
oh,
week.
I think the
Yeah.
12th Doctor series is my favorite of the ongoing monthly series, though I am enjoying the Ninth Doctor miniseries quite a
Oh,
bit. So I highly
okay.
recommend that one as well.
Okay. Very good.
And there's going to be an Eighth Doctor, so I'm very excited about that.
Absolutely. So, Rich, if people want to reach out to you to tell you how much they loved you talking Doctor Who, how can they get you?
I probably the easiest way to find me is I would probably say on Facebook.
Okay.
I don't have much of a digital presence
Yeah, you don't.
or anything like that.
Okay.
So you have a life.
Probably,
Yes.
you can either find me at work or at Trainers Elite on Beltline in the cage. Anybody wants to hang out and talk Doctor Who or a variety of other sci-fis while getting punched in the face, I'll be in the cage.
Yes, it is. Gosh, Rich has gotten so thin and such great shape. So good. And Charles, how can they find you?
I'm also on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram at Charles Skaggs and on Twitter at Charles Skaggs, coincidentally enough. You can also find me on Google Plus for all you crazy kids still on Google Plus. I don't know how many will be remaining, but hopefully we'll see. That's a shout out to Karen. And then my blog of geeky things, Damn Good Coffee and Hot, where I talk about things like Doctor Who and Next Stop Everywhere and all kinds of comics and sci-fi news. So please check it out and let me
Great.
know what you think.
And I am at Jesse Jackson, DFW, and Jesse W. Jackson at DFW, I think. And I will please go to iTunes and rate us, review us.
Please.
Yes,
we could use some more of those.
Yes, we could. We could use some love.
Give us a little love, please.
Yes. April 15th was the last review we got. So, let's at least this quarter.
Yeah.
Okay, please.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
Yeah, we need this.
Step your game up.
Yeah, please. Rich, once again, thank you. I hope you had fun. We loved you being with us.
Anytime.
Yeah. Charles,
thanks, Rich.
As always, thank you so much for hanging with me. And it's been a year of timey-wimey goodness.
Yes, I hope I've broadened your Doctor Who horizons in this past year.
Yes, and we're going to say keep hope alive and say if I knew everything that was going to happen, where would the fun be? For now, thanks everyone. Talk to you next week.
Bye everyone.